Okay, so here is the picking stuff for the pentatonic. And basically what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to talk about an essential technique to use when you're doing the picking stuff. I'm going to show you some picking licks, and then I'm going to show you some ways that you can get this stuff into your playing and a couple of cool miscellaneous kind of licks. Okay, so when you're picking and you're doing the Eric Johnson, Joe Bonamassa thing, let me get at this angle so I can show you what I'm talking about. If you're just picking normally, whenever you pick whatever string you're picking, whenever you do a downstroke, your pick becomes buried in between the string you're playing and the string directly underneath it. Whenever you hit an upstroke, you're buried between the string you're playing and the string directly above it, like this. What Eric Johnson does is he kind of rotates his hand. So if this is neutral, he rotates it this way, almost like gypsy jazz style, but not quite as aggressively. So what that does is whenever you play a downstroke, you're still buried in the string, but your upstroke pulls out away from the guitar. As opposed to, whenever you're playing two notes on a string, you can get a lot of speed and you don't have to be quite as careful. So that's kind of what he does. He slants his pick downward. And you'll know that you're doing it because your upstroke will kind of come out of the string. So, you can take any of the stuff that we talked about in the last video and you can play it with, picking. So your fours, you're just going to pick those down, up, down, up, down, up. Your sixes will be down, up, down, up, down, up. Now the fives is where it gets tricky because he does a sweep pick. And a lot of people don't know this, so they try to pick it this way. And it gets weird. What he's doing is he's going down, up, down, and that last down is a rest stroke. So he's pushing into his B string. Rest stroke. And that leads to the next down starts the 5 over. And the last is a 6. You just alternate pick it. So that sweep is kind of how it gets around that 5 pattern. So the first thing you do is you take all of the legato things and your connector pattern. Your connector pattern once again will be down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and all the variations of that connector pattern. And you just pick through them. So fives, sixes, fours, and a couple other things you can do with picking, and you can also do these with legato. You can take 6 notes and just move down patterns. So if we were to start and you could go move down a pattern, start on the B string. Move down a pattern, start on the G string. Move down a pattern. You can do the same thing, start from the next pattern back. So down, up, down, up. Move down, start on the B string, start on the G string. The next thing you can do is you can find like introduction phrases. So if you were doing like an introduction into a normal phrase, you could start and run up that pattern and then go down like one of our normal patterns. Or you could just start from this note, slide into it. That was the fives. If you start in this pattern, what you're going to do is you're going to go and then roll your finger down and then start. another phrase you can do, like musical phrase, is you start with like a bend, play a 4, and then start your pattern. So this is what it sounds like with the 6. So here's another little thing you can do. You take our connector pattern and you can pick it a little differently. So you can start with a downstroke, upstroke, upstroke, downstroke. So you got down, up, up, down, down. And what you do is you slide into each pattern and you kind of slur it. And the coordination will come. That's a lick that once it kind of comes into your playing, you can just throw it out there. Do it here. So now let me talk to you about a couple like miscellaneous kind of phrases that you can get some Eric Johnson-y sounds. The first one is this, kind of a legato pattern. So, you know, whenever you can go into this. And then the next time, you spread out. So it sounds like this. So, you know, whenever you're... And then you can go into one of our licks. Another one you can do is, and this is pretty cool. Take, let's say, you know, we're still in E. And we're going to go kind of minor. You have this pattern. And whenever you're playing this pattern, what you can do, link it with your pentatonic. So you can come up and what you can also do is you can see that minor triad. You can use that, so you can go. You can do the same thing here. Dorian, connect it with your pentatonic. So slowly, just kind of double up. Connect them. And you can also, you know, to get into that, you can, you know, you can use your, like, your picking stuff. Do it here. Connect them. And here's a cool little lick. This is not, this is more, I don't know, Greg Howell maybe, Richie Kotzen kind of sounding, but it's a cool little trick. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this part of the pentatonic scale. I'll play the lick and then I'll explain it to you. It's kind of a trick. So all you're doing is you're picking, hammer on, and then kind of let your finger bar directly below it. And then pick, hammer on, pull off. And if that's kind of weird, you can use your flat 5. You also do it through this pattern. And if you're interested in this technique, let me know, because I can show you a bunch of cool stuff with it. Like, you can get cool kind of wide interval arpeggio kind of sounds, or you can use string skipping. Get weird computer sounds out of it. And here's another lick. So this is your normal kind of pentatonic pattern. Instead of hitting this note, wherever you have this note, hit that instead. So anytime you're over like a dominant kind of a thing, you use it over minor. It kind of sounds weird because you got that major third in there, but and then do whatever from there. So you can also take advantage of that kind of another kind of Eric Johnson-y sounding thing. Yeah, you can get that, or you can kind of use your thumb at the top, walk up and down the pentatonic scale. Let me know if any of this stuff is helpful or if it's interesting, and I can show you some more kind of in-depth sort of ideas with it. Thanks, brother. I'm looking for my lesson next.